In a year that gave us Live Aid and VH1, these are the albums that shine the brightest. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 albums of 1985. For this list, we're looking at the critically acclaimed and commercially successful, and counting down what we consider to be the seminal albums of 1985. Number 10, Hounds of Love, Kate Bush. After the disappointment that was her previous album, The Dreaming, Hounds of Love returned Bush to the public eye, specifically in the UK, where it became her second album to go to number 1 on the UK album chart.
I'm still afraid to be there. Holding your hands of love.
With the first side featuring many hit singles, including one of her most popular, Running Up That Hill, the second half contains a story of a person alone in the ocean, creating a complex and diverse album for listeners.
If they find me racing white horses.
Bush transcended pop with this album, and many consider it to be a classic in the genre. Number 9, Psychocandy, The Jesus and Mary Chain. A truly influential album that not many mainstream listeners have heard of, Psychocandy helped pave the way for a future generation. With this debut album, the band turned the pop music genre on its head through the use of heavy guitar feedback, creating a unique mix that influenced the shoegazing and alternative rock scene in the 1990s. Often considered one of the greatest albums of all time, The Jesus and Mary Chain created a musical gem that eventually reached gold certification in the United Kingdom, as well as some recognition from the film world. Number 8, The Head on the Door, The Cure. The Head on the Door proved to be The Cure's breakthrough into mainstream success, entering the top 20 in many different countries and earning critical acclaim upon its release.
Yesterday I got so old I felt like I could die.
The band's 6th release, it marked the return of bassist Simon Gallup and was eventually certified gold in the UK and the US, among other countries. Featuring the gothic rock and post-punk sound the band is famously known for, songs like In Between Days and Close to Me became major hits from the band, with both songs charting on the Billboard Hot 100.
I never thought to stay with that. I never thought tonight could ever be this close to me.
Number 7, Tim, The Replacements. After the critical success that was the independently released Let It Be, The Replacements followed up that 1984 album by signing to major label Sire and releasing Tim only a year later. The alternative punk rock band made a splash in critical circles in 1985, appearing on many year-end and eventual best of all time lists, despite its lack of commercial success. It only peaked at number 183 on the Billboard 200, but the music is what makes an album, not the copies sold. The album's contrast between jangle pop and window-shattering rock created a unique sonic landscape, one that influenced rock and roll for years to come.
You ain't nothing but a way to sing the sky.
Number 6, Meat is Murder, The Smiths.
Unruly boys who will not grow up must be taken in hand.
Meat is Murder was every bit as politically charged as the title makes you believe, and it's all the more impactful for it.
I've seen this happen in other people's lives, and now it's happening in mine.
The album was the most successful for the band from England, hitting #1 on the UK album chart and receiving acclaim upon release, with critics lauding the music and the political themes.
The meat in your great big fat mouth is murder.
Some topics include the vegetarianism stance of the title track and also anti-corporal punishment songs aimed at the government. It was an emotionally charged and musically diverse thrill ride, and one of the best records of the year. Number 5, Whitney Houston.
All at once, I finally took a moment.
The album that started this star's worldwide fame, Whitney Houston featured the singer at her most tender and emotional.
Because the greatest love of all.
Inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, this album introduced the world to Whitney's powerful voice and has been acclaimed as one of the best debut albums ever.
So I'm saving all my love for you.
Receiving 4 Grammy nominations and shattering commercial records left and right, the album has sold over 25 million copies since it was first released.
It's never too much, never too much. No. You give me love.
Showcasing the early stages in the career of a pop music legend, Whitney Houston was no doubt a defining album and Voice of the Year 1985.
And that's all that matters now. All at once, I'm drifting on.
Number 4, No Jacket Required, Phil Collins. A rare successful solo act, Phil Collins, previously from the classic rock band Genesis, released No Jacket Required in January and became a major hit with audiences and critics. All 4 of the singles charted within the top 10, and it has sold over 25 million copies, signifying a fantastic commercial appeal. It was also favorably reviewed, with critics praising the instrumentation, in particular the heavy drumming. Winning the Grammy for Album of the Year, Collins created an 80s classic with his blend of soft rock and new wave sounds. Number 3, Rain Dogs, Tom Waits. Regarded as one of the best albums by the experimental rock legend Tom Waits, Rain Dogs is known particularly for its wide range of musical genres.
I know how we're done, and we swallow tonight.
He channeled his inner Springsteen for songs like Downtown Train, and then would bring in the conga drums for tracks like Jockey Full of Bourbon. It's a musical gift that keeps on giving. Featuring the killer guitar skills of Keith Richards and the signature vocals of Tom Waits, Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, and Slant magazine have all called Rain Dogs one of the greatest albums of the 1980s.
All of my dreams just full of me. Roll on the town, town, town. Roll on the town, town, town.
Number 2, Brothers in Arms, Dire Straits. Dire Straits had the world in the palm of their hands in 1985, due in no small part to the release of Brothers in Arms.
We got the install microwave oven, custom kitchen delivery.
It was an immediate commercial success, spending 7 weeks at number 1 in the US and 10 atop the UK chart, eventually becoming one of the highest-selling albums ever.
So far, I just can't. So far away.
It was also critically acclaimed and won 2 Grammys and a Brit Award. With Mark Knopfler's signature voice and his shredding guitar, Dire Straits created a true rock classic. Before we look at our top album of 1985, here are a few honorable mentions.
We're on a ride to nowhere.
And sorry how you'll find sanctuary.
One of these days you'll go back to your home. You won't even notice that you are alone.
These dreams go on when I close my eyes.
Just set me free. Home, sweet home.
Number 1. Songs from the Big Chair. Tears for Fears.
Let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on.
An album that perfectly represents the mid-80s, Songs from the Big Chair was Tears for Fears' best-selling album and one of the 80s best.
I believe that if you knew just what these tears were for.
With their trademark vocals and synthesizers, the band helped popularize the new wave genre and created the signature musical sound of the 1980s.
Something happens and I'm head over heels.
It was an immediate hit, with 5 huge singles that still receive massive airplay today. It helped define a sound for a generation, and the dreamy music still sounds great 30 years later. Do you agree with our list? What album from 1985 is your favorite? For more rocking top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.